Weekend when the hardest thing you have to pass is a kidney stone.
Yeah, it is. I'm sure that wasn't on the agenda.
Ready to race in the Kobalt Tools 500 south of Atlanta, Georgia. 325 laps, and they'll have to pit for fuel every 54 to 58 laps, as Larry said, but maybe in a little more often than that for tires.
You see David Reagan going to the rear of the field for an engine change. DW, it's fast, it's hot, it's slick. Reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time.
All right, easy, boys. Easy, easy. Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's go racing, boys!
Fifty-year-old Mark Martin's going to bring him around to lead lap one.
I got a fast car.
Mark has been fast in every single practice session here, almost like he was in Las Vegas last week, and he backed it up by sitting on the
Car in the wall, turn one. Toward the back of the field, and it's the 43.
Man, and thing,
Reed Sorensen.
You know, that had a look of the same thing had happened to him at, was it Vegas? When the car just took off?
Yes.
Either something broke on the left front, the suspension.
Something, this is the same thing that happened to him. Actually, I think it was California.
In practice.
In practice. The car, look at the car. It just dives. It's almost like it sets on the bump stop and then shoots to the right.
And then won't turn. As soon as it gets down on the bump stops, it stops turning.
Exactly. If you're brave enough and you're bold enough and your car's good enough, you can pass a lot of people up on the outside early in this race.
And he is, and he was. We're back under green. Kurt Busch goes for the lead. Jamie McMurray behind. Here comes Biffle, the 16 on the outside.
Boy, I tell you, that 2 car has really come alive this year. They have stepped up. Pat Tryson and that whole crowd. They got got the new engine. They got a new engineer over there. Kurt is really showing a lot of speed this year.
He timed that restart almost
perfectly. Yeah.
He'll lead that lap. He'll get 5 points. Get 5 points for leading a lap in the race. Another car on the move is that car right on the bottom, that 11 car of Denny Hamlin. As I walked through the garage here this morning, we're riding with him down the back straightaway. Always try to get a feel from different crew chiefs. Who do you think is going to be the car to beat? A lot of fingers were pointing to this 11 car.
Yeah, he was real upbeat yesterday after practice. He really liked his car. Thought he had something they could go to the front with.
Reed Sorensen took his car to the garage. Dick Berggren's with him.
And it's a badly wounded car for the hometown hero. What sent you out?
We don't know yet. It's I don't think it was a tire. I felt something in the steering. It kind of went left a little bit, and then felt like something broke in the left front, but maybe in the right front. But whatever it was, it went straight in the fence. And you know, the speeds are so high here that it hurts the car pretty bad. So we're in trouble in this one, but we'll try to get it back out there and try to salvage whatever points we can.
He drove it in with the right front wheel at a 45-degree angle, Mike.
Wow. Now he'll stay in the top 35 even if that car doesn't return to the race. But after our next race, which is in 2 weeks at Bristol, Tennessee, then we use this year's points to determine the qualifying exemptions. And there are a lot of fellows down in the danger zone that have 2 races to rebound. We'll see how they do.
Yeah, today is a critical day because Bristol is so unpredictable. You go there, there's no insurance you're going to leave there with a race car, let alone a good finish.
Think about it, we take that week off next weekend and we do 2 short tracks back-to-back, Bristol and then Martinsville.
So one good thing about the short tracks, there are a few short tracks you can go test on to simulate, not necessarily Bristol, but at least your short track package.
Testing not allowed at any of the tracks where NASCAR's Sprint Cup Nationwide or Camping World Truck Series competes.
It's about 50 racetracks that it affects that you cannot go test at.
Kurt Busch out in front. Krista?
Mike, there were a lot of fist pumps down here in the 2 pit stall when Kurt had that great jump, and you heard him say that on the radio. Great jump, great restart there, Kurt. What you didn't hear was some other radio talk. As Kurt went flying by, they said, there goes the 2 car. Here we go, boys.
And Darrell, it's funny you mentioned about the testing. Certainly it would not have played a role in what they're doing here right now. but they were at New Smyrna Beach, Florida, testing this past Wednesday, Pat Tryson in the 2 group.
His car owner Roger Penske so successful in open wheel cars, and he's had a measure of success in NASCAR. Trouble turn 3. Bobby Labonte.
That will bring the caution out.
This is a guy right here, Bobby Labonte, I thought would have a great day. Coming off that great finish last week, 5th place at Vegas.
I am so loose. So loose.
I imagine you are.
And he's won here 6 times,
Yeah.
which is the most of any active driver. You'll see the 96 come into the picture.
He's up on the outside there. Just
right there.
The car just turns around right there. It's just like he said, really bad loose when you don't even hardly get to the corner and it spins out.
Getting ready to restart. Green flag in the air at 15 laps after our 2nd caution of the day.
Boy, that 2 car wastes no time. I mean, he just flew around the outside of Mark Martin. Here's Dale Jr. going down underneath the Elliott Sadler there. That car's moving too. It's looking a lot better than it did in practice yesterday.
Yeah, he was not very happy. These guys are battling back for about 17th, 18th position.
Brian Newman, the Rocket, had such a pole winning streak here at Atlanta.
Man.
And here comes Kurt Busch. He wants the front spot from his former teammate.
He's got that outside off of 2 over there.
Somebody straight and smooth.
He's got it going on now.
Started to talk earlier about Roger Penske and the success he's had. Roger flew in this morning. He is up on the roof as one of the spotters for his 3-car team of Busch, David Stremme, and Sam Hornick.
We've had a chance to talk to Kurt a couple of times last week, and he said that they had finally kind of pinpointed things that were wrong with their team. A little bit here, a little bit there, a little motor, a little aero, maybe, just a little bit of everything. And they started to eliminate some of those things, improved upon them. And man, that car is fast today.
Denny Hamlin, the 11 car. Remember, Ryan Newman in the 39 only went with right side tires. Denny Hamlin in the 11 battling now for 2nd spot, bringing Mark Martin in the 5 with him.
Watching from Mark Martin's onboard camera.
I mean, Mark Martin just put 4 fresh tires on, and you can hear him already having to play with that throttle coming up off the corner.
Yeah, one of the things I always worry about those early stops like that with 12 laps when the caution came out, you will tell you there's something wrong with the car. You're like a little loose, a little tight. The crew will adjust the car based on that little bit of information and almost inevitably go the wrong way because the track changes.
All right, here's Matt on Ryan Newman.
Mike, information and partnerships is the key to success in NASCAR racing, and their corporate partnership with Hendrick Motorsports really proved beneficial this weekend for Stewart Haas Racing as both cars fought loose from the time they unloaded. Newman's car especially loose on entry. Got a lot of information back and forth between the 24 and the other Hendrick teams and really seemed to have helped as Newman's car has been tight from the drop of the green. The 2 tires, great pit call, got him track position, although he is sliding back now to 4th, but Newman pretty pleased with that 39 car now on the tight side.
And Mike and Darrell, that's one of those cars that needs a good run here. He comes in here 33rd in the owner points. And like you say, after Bristol, it goes to the current owner points.
Just had bad luck. Car's really not been all that bad as far as performance goes, just no luck.
This is the race from 3rd on back as Denny Hamlin's chasing down the leader, Kurt Busch. And there is Kurt's younger brother, Kyle, last week's winner and yesterday's winner in the truck race, despite a late race restart where he only had 4th gear, let the rest of the leaders go by, and then kind of like Pac-Man just gobbled them all up.
Fell all the way back to 9th place with like 4 laps to go.
Darrell, did you see that 18 car, Kyle Busch, dip below the apron? And of course, the apron is a different banking than the actual racetrack. That car snapped pretty loose with him.
He was loose yesterday in practice. I guess they kind of like it that way, but it may be a little too loose right now.
You know, right behind him, need to update our points leader, Jeff Gordon, in that 24 car, started back in the 16th position. He was battling Montoya. There he is, the silver car this week, the 24 car. He was battling Montoya for 10th, and he got by Montoya and then drove away from him. He's moved up to the 9th position. Looks like old Big Daddy's got a pretty good car today.
Yeah, they've been on the mark this year.
This week, other than the black hood on Gordon's car at a distance, it's impossible to tell his car from Jimmy Johnson. Same color splitter, same color numbers, predominantly silver car. And Kurt Busch has now been out front twice.
And Mike, Brian Vickers talking to crew chief Ryan Pemberton saying that his car is just still a little bit loose when he gets on that throttle.
Thanks, Steve. Boy, Larry, it just seems you fight loose here all day long. And if you set the car up tight, all you'll do is just scrub the tires right off it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's like walking on a tightrope. I just think these guys, they've got these cars turning so good now. They got the front end working good, and then you add in how hot this track is right now with the loss of grip. I think that's why everybody all week long has been fighting loose.
Well, the turns are so big here, Mike, and so you're in the corner. The mile of this racetrack is corners, quarter-mile straightaways. So if you get it too tight, then you're just got the wheels cranked so long that you use up the right front tire.
It's interesting, after last practice yesterday, several drivers were asked about tires and about the race tomorrow, and some of the most prominent ones said, I can't tell you because we haven't raced this package yet. And they were very reluctant to say what they thought the track would be like and what the handling characteristics of the car or the tire wear would be like. So it just sounded like an awful lot of uncertainty or skepticism about what they were going to see on the track today.
Yeah, I think a concern was the tires were not wearing. The tires are just getting, you know, they're just starting to skate after a while. That was a concern everybody had.
Starting to see some green flag pit stops. This is a little early, but this was one of the cars Sam Hornish Jr. in the 77 just went a lap down. They decided, hey, let's get the pit road and make this thing better.
25 cars are on the lead lap, led by Kurt Busch for Roger Penske.
The Kobalt Tools 500 on Fox is sponsored by Budweiser. Reach for the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager.
58 laps complete. Kurt Busch has led the most of them. He's led 48 of the 58. Only 2 cars have made pit stops under this green flag run, and they are both Busch's teammates. Sam Hornish and David Stremme have been on pit road.
And one of the things that always concerns me here at Atlanta, because it's a really fast racetrack, getting on pit road. Not just getting the car slowed down, but not getting run over when you're trying to slow down still up on the racetrack. So we got to keep an eye on that.
Scott Speed and Joey Logano, the Ray Bestis rookie battle for 2009. As you have a look at Logano, who currently runs in 33rd. Time for today's Home Depot rookie file. Here is Joey on his season's progress so far.
We came along a lot since Daytona. Me as a driver, I feel I've grown a lot. You know, just getting used to these cars, getting used to what I need in the car to tell Zippy and tell the guys to be able to work on the car. I think that just takes time to get used to these things. They drive so different than any other race car out there. So, yeah, it takes a little time to get used to it. But I think after last week in Vegas, it gave us a lot more confidence, including the team and me. So I think we should be all right.
They ran all the laps last week. Mission accomplished. More of the same here as David Rudiman pits, along with Dave Blaney in the 66.
Yeah, I saw Dave Blaney in the 66. He was actually on the apron on the backstretch, like there may be a problem with that 66 car, Krista.
David Rudiman got on his radio and said, you guys have no idea how bad this car is. We need to make a huge change. Really, really loose. He said he had no side bite at all.
Thanks, Krista. The hood's gone up on Dave Blaney's car, so that may be a terminal problem. Reed Sorensen returns to the race with a lot of right side damage. Joe Nemechek pits, and here comes Matt Kenseth, the winner of the Daytona 500 and California the next week, for his first stop.
And you know what? I love the guys are pitting on this end of the turn 4 end of the racetrack. because they looked at who they were pitting around. And if you look at that pit box down there, that end of the pit lane, the 48's got the first pit in. The 20, they kind of felt like he might go a lap down, and he did. The 83's there. The 43's out. There's some good opening pits there that they looked at probably before they made their selection.
I said that was Kenseth's first stop. His first stop in this green flag sequence. Second stop of the day. Tony Stewart coming onto pit road, and Eric Almirola. Steve.
And Mike, Tony Stewart in the 14 car says, I lack rear grip all the way through the turns. He said, I'd rather be tight in the center than loose. Pretty big adjustments. Wedge, air pressure, and of course, 4 tires for Tony Stewart.
Casey Mears is in as this round of green flag stops continues. They pushed Dave Blaney's car to the garage area after closing the hood. John Andretti's also in. And Kyle Busch.
I think he tried to get to pit road and could not get on.
Jamie McMurray is in, so is Bobby Labonte and Michael Waltrip, and here comes Elliott Sadler. Krista.
Well, Jamie McMurray has been complaining of his race car being way too loose. He had called for a major adjustment. The crew's over the wall on the right side. Jamie's saying he's just skating around out there. They definitely were needing the tires on this stuff.
Jeff Gordon, Scott Speed, Joey Logano, Dale Earnhardt Jr. all on pit road. And Ryan Newman, Kevin Harvick in as well. Matt?
Same problem for Jeff Gordon that Dale Earnhardt Jr., his teammate, is experiencing. Just too free on entry. Jr. says he was backing up his corner, trying to help get the car to roll through the center and to be good on exit. But he says, I'm really losing a lot of time on exit. Krista?
Well, Matt, we had talked about how Kyle had no front and rear grip. He actually got on the radio back on lap 51 and said, when are we going to get this over with? Meaning he needed to come in for a stop. Steve?
Well, Krista, the problem for Brian Vickers, who as he sees already in his pits, is I am loose on throttle. That's the problem. They clean off the grill as well, Matt.
And Denny Hamlin is in. Chassis adjustment already completed by the gas man Scott Wood. Denny said that the car, although he climbed all the way to second, like so many other people, just seeking grip any way he can get it. The 99 of Edwards coming in next.
We had a tire get loose on pit road, and that brought the caution out.
Yeah, they've had to waive the caution because a mechanic walked out halfway out to the racing surface to get it. It's from Marcus Ambrose's car.
I'm going to tell you what, NASCAR is not going to be happy with that crew member at all. He was halfway across the infield grass. That's the reason the caution was out.
Larry, he wasn't 70 feet from the racing surface when he went out to retrieve that tire.
Yeah, I mean, I know.
Just bad judgment. He thought he was
there
probably.
You see the
he
tire
thinks
right
he was
there.
doing a good thing. We saw the tire rolling out there.
8 cars that had pitted under green stayed out and were picked up by the caution car. So they are on the tail end of the lead lap in front of race leader Jimmy Johnson. And they've called off this restart. They're going to go around one more lap.
One thing I don't understand is there's a bunch of cars up here that appear to be arguing over position here, and I'm not sure what's going on.
Tony Stewart in the 14 seems to be one of them.
And Mark Martin, I guess Mark's on the.
Stewart is on the tail end of the lead lap.
And if you're on the tail end of the lead lap, you have choice, but not when you're a full lap down or on the tail end of that lap.
What he means by choice, inside line or outside line.
I think Stewart thought he should have been the first car on the inside for this restart. Now Ryan Newman, another of the is a lap down car, his teammate, just in front. But there are 8 drivers in front of the race leader, who is Jimmy Johnson, because Johnson waited and made his pit stop under caution.
But I think Tony is right. I think if you're at the tail end of the lead lap, you have a choice of where you can start.
Well, you do, but a gentleman's agreement, courtesy, if you're on the tail end of the lead lap and the inside line is open, you should fall to the inside.
Yeah.
So Jimmy Johnson, our leader, is going to restart 9th in the outside row.
But everybody's goal up there at the front is to keep Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car as far back as possible, because he's the leader of the race right now.
And if the caution came out, everybody from Montoya forward would get to come around on the lead lap. And because the pace car would pick up Johnson as the leader.
This is always so confusing, and I never liked this. I wish there was a better way.
Green flag. Now Johnson's going to have to protect that lead from Clint Boyer, but they're going to have to tiptoe through this race traffic. 3 wide already in 2 places.
I guarantee you, these boys, they got both hands and feet up on the steering wheel right now, trying to keep Jimmy Johnson behind them.
John, how would you like to be the leader of the race and see all of that in front of you? What have I gotten myself into?
But right now, our leader is deep in the field.
Yeah, and he's running a pace as everybody else scrambles to stay up in front of him.
Well, he's just got to drive real cautiously. You know, he can't push it real hard. He's got to let that thing kind of sort itself out a little bit.
Now his teammate Jeff Gordon may have an issue. Matt, what's up?
Mikey runs in 9th, but a problem has developed in the 24 with the clutch on the stop. When Gordon put it in gear, when the crew members were working the left side, the car rolled forward, damaged the side skirting. They lost a little bit of time, but Gordon is going to have to change up a little bit his role on a pit stop. In DW, a lot of people don't realize how much as a driver you perform in that cockpit while you're sitting in the box getting ready to go.
Well, what happens is these clutches are hydraulic. They don't have a rod going into the flywheel like an old car. These things are hydraulic, and that fluid will get hot, and it won't allow you to release the clutch all the way.
Let's have a look at Michael Waltrip. Last lap coming out of turn number 2, the 55.
Got a little loose. Then he got a whole lot loose.
Almost backed right into Paul Menard.
Right.
Gosh.
Now, Michael Waltrip in the 55, he actually went a lap down on the racetrack and then went another lap down when he made a green flag stop.
Clear high. Just stay high. Clear to the middle if you need it.
That was the thing.
Clear low.
That was the thing about the way the 2 car was lapping everybody. You just couldn't afford to pit before he did. If you did, you might go a lap down. And here's Jimmy Johnson. He has got his hands full.
Well, he's trying to thread the needle between 2 cars trying to stay on the lead lap. Jeff Burton's 31 and Montoya's 42.
And all these cars on new tires, it's just hard to drive by them.
Now, who has just moved up into 2nd is that 99 car, Carl Edwards. We're riding with him. He just drove by Clint Boyer, so he's now in 2nd. Carl Edwards started in the 29th position. Here he is. He's going to be battling for the lead here pretty quick. I mean, look at the run he got off turn 4 on that 48 car.
This has been Carl's racetrack ever since he showed up here. You got to work hard. You got to be in great shape. You got to be willing to sit there and saw on that wheel all day long. It's a lot like running a slick dirt track.
Well, Darrell, isn't his job right now a little easier than Jimmy's? Johnson has to move the traffic, has to get to the traffic and get him out of the way.
Yeah,
Carl can pretty much pick and choose.
Yeah, he can follow Jimmy through, but I don't think Carl will do that. I think he may try to just get on by and take control himself. Because I don't think Jimmy's car doesn't look like it's handling all that great. It's kind of sliding around a lot.
Now Kurt Busch is still in the mix 3rd, Clint Boyer 4th, Martin Truex 5th.
Here he
and
goes.
Denny Hamlin 6th.
That 2 car is the car on the move. He has been all the way up against the wall as Carl Edwards. He takes the lead away from Jimmy Johnson, but may not have it for long with the way that 2 car is moving.
Look at that thing go around the top of that track. In the gas, coming.
Steve?
Well, like DW talking about Jimmy Johnson's car, when that caution came out, Chad Canals told his driver, we're going to take a big swing at this to tighten you up. They put a spring rubber in the left rear spring.
And now's the time to make that big swing early in the race.
And that basically just puts more pressure on the left rear tire. It's just like jacking down on the jack bolt, but you put the spring rubber in, it should tighten the car up.
Now the cars that are in front of Carl Edwards right now that still fighting to stay at the tail end of the lead lap. Martin is up there in the 5. Brian Vickers, Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Greg Biffle, Matt Kenseth, and Jeff Burton. He just put Montoya in the 42 1 lap down.
Ooh, Ryan Newman and Kyle Busch.
Just a little chuckle.
Well, hello.
Now, all of these cars are 1 lap down right now.
He said, you like plain or you like peanut?
That battle was for 18th place. Joe Nemechek has taken his Toyota to the garage. Here's a look at Junior in 10th. Now Tony Stewart is a lap down. Junior is on the tail end of the lead lap, Matt.
And Mike, he's working the bottom. Typically, we always see Junior at places like Atlanta and Michigan just rim riding the old Richard Petty, Harry Gant line. Junior has been loose almost from the get-go. And Junior said, going back to last year, the setup here is like apples to oranges, completely different. Trying something a little bit different that may pay off as they go into a different direction later on in the year. He says the mindset coming in, though, for this place, especially this year and with this tire, you've got to think like you're racing at the old Rockingham or Darlington Raceway.
Now, Junior said that the setup in his car this time is totally different than anything he's ever run before.
Kurt Busch has gone to second. He's passed Jimmy Johnson, or excuse me, to third. Clint Boyer remains in the second spot. As after the caution flag, drivers trying to work their way back up to where they were under green. So Kurt is now third, 1.8 seconds off the lead.
You know what I want to explain right here, because it is very confusing, as Darrell said, is why is Kyle Busch, Ryan Newman, Tony Stewart that we saw racing, why are they one lap down and the rest of those cars at the tail end of the lead lap? Problem is those guys lost a lot more ground through the cycle of green flag pit stops, and that put them behind those guys that made those pit stops under caution. That's the reason they ended up going a lap down, then they got passed on the restart.
Just take your time.
I kind of like the deal that some of the other series do, where when you get caught like that, you're sent on around and you actually start at the end of the field.
And then kind of edgy, and I think from watching some of these great shots we're getting from in cars as well as some of our great camera locations around the track, a lot of these guys have got their hands full.
This has been an AT&T race break. Let's rejoin Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
David Stremme jumps onto pit road and almost missed the commit cone. Robbie Gordon follows him in as the green flag stops continue.
This is working out. Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch today, this race is working out perfectly for him. You know, the Dodge notoriously don't get great gas mileage, but today gas mileage is not the problem. It's who can get the most miles out of their tires. The way his car's handling, he can stay out there longer than anybody else, still run really good lap times.
Caution's out.
Uh-oh. Caution in turn 2, and that catches Stremme and Robbie Gordon on pit road.
I think we've got a piece of debris laying over there in turn 2 right now, is what I'm hearing.
And so our 9 cars on the lead lap will become 10. And there is fluid on the racetrack in turn 2. NASCAR has observers stationed all around the racetrack, and so somebody dropping fluid over there.
Yeah, we were right on top of probably a lot of cars coming to pit road for green flag stops. The cars that did not work out for.
They're sideways out.
There's a 77 car of Sam Hornish, Robbie Gordon, David Stremme, who were both on pit road when that caution came out.
Everybody is getting something to drink, man. They're glad to get a break here. And one of the things, you see how everybody closed their shield back down almost immediately? We learned a long time ago with a full face helmet, it keeps the heat off your face. All the heat off the engine and everything inside the car, man, you'd open up that shield and hot air would blow in there. You close it back down and your little air conditioner, which is up here on top of your head, it keeps that cold air blowing in there, not getting out outside of the helmet.
And the free pass car is Dale Earnhardt Jr.
That's the second time. Pit road is closed. You see David Rudeman, the 00 car, is coming to pit road. We're hearing that he may have been down on a cylinder possibly.
All right, well, while pit road is closed, let's get today's State Farm safety report.
Fire is one of the #1 fears of a driver. You can imagine whether it's a blown engine, a broken oil and fuel line, or a crash, fire is always a possibility. That's the reason for the gloves, the fire suit, as well as the shoes and the full face helmet. But you think about the cockpit area itself. it also has a lot of things built into it to protect the driver, along with the onboard fire extinguishers. So let's think about one of the areas that we're talking about here. Imagine riding around with a blowtorch, basically at 180 miles an hour. This fire retardant shifter boot keeps the flames away from the driver. Sometimes people like it hot, but drivers not.
Truex and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Everybody else 1 or more laps down as we go back to green. Daryl, restarts here, just hold your breath. They're 3 wide all over the place.
And the way these cars are handling, of course, on new tires, they feel pretty good, but these things are dancing and they're all over the place, dancing with the cars today.
You know, a guy that just moved into second place, that 24 car, Jeff Gordon, just drove by Clint Boyer. Remember, he was one of those cars fighting to get back on the lead lap not that many laps ago. I believe that 24 car is going to be a player before it's over with. And in fact, his teammate Jimmy Johnson, the 48, he just went by Boyer, as well as Carl Edwards in the 99. That's going to kick Boyer all the way back to 5th spot.
Boyer's car seems to run better after they run a little while, unlike a lot of these cars. His seems to get a little bit, maybe doesn't get any better. It just doesn't fall off like some of the others does.
This is a wad of cars right here. The only lead lap cars that are still in that pack right there, Denny Hamlin in the 11, and you saw Martin Truex Jr. in the 1. In fact, we're riding with Denny Hamlin, looking over at David Reagan, who is actually 3 laps down in the 6.
Reagan has been absolutely about to wreck.
Third place at stake here, Jimmy Johnson, Carl Edwards. Boy, the battles they've had on this racetrack.
All the way to the end, they've had battles.
Just shoot him.
What happened to Clint Boyer backing up there, Dick?
Well, before that round of pit stops, Clint Boyer had told his crew what he wanted them to do, and he said, no matter what, don't hurt the car going off the corner. Guess what?
He just car going off the corner.
Bingo!
Did I ever tell you about what annoys a driver?
On several occasions.
Let's get some strategy from the 10th place car. Here's Matt.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s crew chief Tony Eury Jr. He was complaining about a brake vibration. You worked on the left side. What'd you do, Tony?
We had to come in and tighten the wheel up. I mean, it basically left the wheel out, loose there. So it's unfortunate, but, with the new rules that we have this year, to be a little longer, it's pretty tough on the tire changers to make sure that those are loose, especially with the glue and stuff. But, we're going to be all right. We might have to put another spacer on it to take care of it. But, the biggest thing right now is just get the car tightened up where it can go.
And they added 1 wheel spacer, Larry Mack, on the left rear on that stop. They thought it was the right rear, and Tony Eury Jr. spotted it right from on top of the pit box what the problem was.
I think I don't know if Jeff Hammond down in the garage here has the new stud length that NASCAR has mandated this year. They've made them go to a longer wheel stud, and it's really messing up the timing of the tire changers. They've been used to kind of zip, 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 zip. They kind of had a timing in their mind, and you got to stay on a little bit longer this year.
Yeah, just think back to all the loose lugs, loose wheels we had last week at Vegas. Now, we're riding with Casey Kane. We've been watching him. He started in the 13th position, but he was one of the cars that fell victim to that caution that came out right in the middle of green flag pit stops back around lap 66 to 73, right in there. He's got a good enough race car, I think, to run in the top 5. He just needs a caution to get that lap back.
Yeah, he was gaining on the leader there just before that caution came out. I thought he was going to drive up and get back on the lead lap by himself, but then the caution flew. Still got a really good race car today.
Yeah, Kane is likely the best car here that is not on the lead lap at the moment. He is, however, in the free pass position if a caution should come out.
And you see there, he just goes by Boyer,
who is the 6th place car.
He's been riding that high line. It's really been working for him to perfection.
this is a wad of cars right here, but I'm going to tell you what, there's a couple of cars in there, especially one. That's 71 car of David Gilliland. This is a single car operation. They do buy their cars from Richard Childress Racing. They get their motors from Earnhardt Childress Racing engines. Great run at Las Vegas last week. I talked to the owner, Kevin Buckler, of this car yesterday, and he said, you know what? We're just trying to come in here and do things right and just have solid finishes, and of course the goal be in the top 35 after Bristol.
Gilliland started the season with a contract but no ride. He was contracted to Yates Racing. They didn't have anything for him to drive, so they released him, and he hooked up with the Racers Group and having a good run. Now this is Clint Boyer surrendering 6th place, maybe, to Brian Vickers in the Toyota, and here comes Denny Hamlin. Meanwhile, for the lead.
And we hadn't had a lot of battles for the lead with Kurt Busch, but Jeff Gordon in that 24 car, our points leader coming in here, goes to the bottom of the racetrack. He wants the lead.
They've just got this year, unlike any year before, the 24 bunch, Steve Letarte and them have figured out how to make the car better during the race. When they need to make the right changes, they're doing it this year.
But you know, I think the 24 car is better, but you know, we had the pleasure of sitting down with Jeff Gordon. I think Jeff Gordon is on his mark as well this year.
Yeah, I think he's more comfortable with his role, not just in racing, but in life in general. He's a husband, a dad. He's working out. He's in good shape. Really all paying off for him.
It's almost as if as they went into the second half of last year, they thought the wins would come to them, and he realized he's going to have to go out and fight for them, and that's what he's doing this year.
I just think, I always think back to Jeff Gordon, how he won championships under the old point system, or under the structure of the old point system. Just don't beat yourself, hang around, get those good top 5 or 10 finishes. Doesn't work that way anymore. Got to get out there and win some races.
But look at these guys. We got 151 laps to go. Ooh. Look at him, and look at Gordon get loose when he moved up the racetrack. Got to regroup here now.
Yeah, right.
Kurt Busch retakes the lead.
Maybe I didn't want that lead as bad as I thought I did. I'll just fall back here.
And Carl Edwards is about 1.5 seconds back. Now Jeff Hammond can show us the new NASCAR mandated longer wheel studs.
Yeah, Mike, let's take a real quick look. This is the way the guys used to do it all the time. You just barely see that when the nut is tight, you don't see any threads. This year, look at the other stud. You can now see the threads sticking out past the nut when it's tight. And you got to understand, a lot of these tire changers, they've been doing it the old way so long, they've got a rhythm down, and all of a sudden, they don't get a wheel tight. And that's what the drivers are complaining about. But that's a new mandate from NASCAR. You've got to show that much thread coming through inspection and all during the race.
And Larry and Jeff, I'll ask the question, why? Why did they go to the longer stud?
I think teams were getting so creative with their lug studs. I mean, we had some teams, especially at the higher speed like Daytona and Talladega, where there was basically no lug stud sticking outside the lug nut because that is rotating weight there.
Watching Matt Kenseth, winner of the first 2 races. He is in 12th place, a lap down. And Greg Biffle has fallen 2 laps behind.
50 on the 9, 30 on the leader.
Kenseth is racing Kevin Harvick in the 29 for position for 12th place. Kurt Busch, having dispatched Jeff Gordon, is having it all his own way. He has a half a second lead.
The Kobalt Tools 500 on Fox is sponsored by AT&T, your world delivered. By Taco Bell, think outside the bun. By Napa Auto Parts, Napa, get the good stuff. And by Ask.com. Where do NASCAR fans get answers? Ask.com, the official search engine of NASCAR.
Kurt Busch leading by a second with 143 laps to go. So time for another question from Ask.com, the official search engine of NASCAR. Darrell.
What?
You had this question earlier.
Oh, do you want me to answer it?
No, I just wanted you to ask it.
You got to go to Ask.com to get the answer.
Which former president once worked here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway?
You can enter the Ask.com NASCAR Challenge for a chance to win a trip to Talladega from the official search engine of NASCAR. Here's a clue. Georgia has 4,500 peanut farmers, creating about 50,000 jobs in a $2 million business each year. 700 million pounds of peanut butter are consumed by Americans every year. Marcus Ambrose A lot of smoke trailing now. He'd made an unscheduled stop earlier.
Yeah, and just when the two just went by, Mike, the whole right side of his car is now kind of banged up. That was something.
Did he get in oil from Marcus Ambrose, perhaps, or just get up a little too high?
He's up there and he just.
You can see the black mark that's being created on the wall.
He's trying to get it down, but it just won't. It just can't. He just can't turn it down.
Marcos Ambrose in the 47 car makes that left-hand turn to the garage area.
Don't think it hurt anything because he didn't hit it hard. He just kind of scraped
Put it in the left rear, right?
Getting a
in
little
the left
loose.
rear. 4 tires and gas, 1 round down left.
Green flag.
I think Tony's going to jump out there, see if he can get to maybe hold off this crowd here for a little while. It's going to be pretty hard to do with that 2 car steaming by on the outside. Yep.
This is not for position. Kurt Busch still the leader.
That 2 car has just been on a rail all day long.
Teammates fighting it out. Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson.
And Larry, there's something that's getting ready to help all these race cars, not just one of them, but all of them. It's called cloud cover. When the sun goes in, you get a little cloud cover here, business will pick up.
It's going to cool that track down and she'll gain some grip. But again, just watching Tony Stewart up there in that 14 car, he is trying so hard because he really wouldn't be eligible for the free pass because he's 2 laps down. He's trying his best to get one of them back. Then he would only be 1 lap down.
Yeah, he was hoping to be able to stay out front there, but there's just no way to hold that 2 car back today.
Right now, the car in the free pass position is Matt Kenseth. He's the first car 1 lap down. So Kurt Busch, your leader on Jeff Gordon by 1.6 seconds. Jimmy Johnson half a second back. Then Mark Martin, Brian Vickers. Sounds like a good time to me for a crank it up. But he's only 11 seconds off the lead, which is going to change as Jeff Gordon moves past Kurt Busch.
You know, I heard him say on Kurt's car they were going to make a little adjustment, and I'm not sure if that helped it or not. It looks to me like it hurt it a little bit.
Well, 2 things just happened to him that has not happened a lot. 2 cars just got by him, but he's fighting back for the lead. They were neck and neck when they got to the start-finish line that lap.
This racetrack isn't wide enough for Kurt Busch. He's been in the wall again.
No, he did. He scraped it up pretty hard again. All the writing's gone off the tires. He's just running so high and so close to the wall. Doesn't take much of a slip.
I don't see much more damage there to the right rear.
Oh, trouble turn 2, guys. Car hard in the wall.
It is Hornish.
And Bill Elliott gets collected in the 21. What a shame.
Hornish looked like he may have cut a tire down or something. And
Sideways Sam finally hit the wall a ton.
Got that right front pretty good there, Travis.
Well, the biggest beneficiary from that caution, we just talked about him, Tony Stewart, because he got one of his laps back, and he needs to get to pit road to get some fuel in that car.
Matt Kenseth will get the free pass, but this is a terrible blow for George's favorite son and the Wood brothers running a partial schedule now. Here's Hornish.
He's got this thing is smoking. Looks like he's got a tire down or something happened to the car, and he just come down the hill, and here come Bill.
He'd already hit it at this point, Darrell.
He'd already hit the wall.
Yeah, he'd been in the outside wall. 8 different leaders in this race so far. Green flag.
Restarts have been pretty sanitary. Normally you get a bottleneck mess every now and then.
Well, you can tell they've got 4 fresh tires on these race cars because they are going at it while they can take advantage of it. That's Kevin Harvick in the 29 car. He's trying to get up there and get back on the lead lap. He's 1 lap down, back in the 13th position.
Harvick had a coulda, woulda, shoulda yesterday in the Camping World Truck Series race, finishing second to Kyle Busch.
Speaking of Kyle Busch, there he is in that 18 car on the bottom. Not the kind of day he's been looking for right now. He's 3 laps down, back in 22nd.
Buddy, I'm glad Kurt decided that wasn't going to work.
Jimmy Johnson looking in.
Watch his 2 car go to the high side and just sail. Man, he comes off of the corner with a head of steam.
Get such a good run up there. You just keep the engine wound up.
He's going to lose second place for the moment to Jimmy Johnson.
Kyle Busch knows that he's got to get by these leaders because he's not going to get the free pass 3 laps down.
But Larry, all race long, he's not had a car good enough to run with the leaders. Maybe now that's changed.
Well, I think they've definitely made adjustments, and he's trying his best to take advantage of those 4 fresh tires.
Let me just tell you, and I don't have to tell you, all y'all know this, don't count him out.
No, sir. Not even with 114 laps to go.
Plenty of time.
Krista, what's new this time around on Kurt Busch?
Well, Mike, before that, or right after that last pit stop, Kurt actually apologized to his crew. Pat said, "Why are you apologizing? You're driving your butt off out there." He said, "Well, I just feel like I'm losing a little grip." But you know, you're talking about the head of steam that Kurt's getting off of the corners. That is exactly what Pat Trice and the crew chief said is the key here. You have to drive off the corner well, get on the gas for the straightaways. Kurt and Pat Tricen are in total sync right now.
And the best news for that team is getting into the wall did not hurt that car. He's still able to run leader's pace.
Scraped up the paint job. That's about it.
Martin Truex battling Brian Vickers and Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Outside 07 there. 20's got to run.
That's Casey Mears alongside, who is not on the lead lap. He is 2 laps down.
You know, Darrell, something I think these guys are going to have to start dealing with. I know we've changed into daylight savings time, but coming down the front straightaway here at about 10 minutes to 5 Eastern time, that old sun's going to start getting in these eyes toward the latter part of this race.
Yeah, and the track is cooling down, Larry, and that's going to help all these cars handle better. I think that's going to pull some people like maybe Kyle Busch back into the picture here before the day's over with.
Right now, Jimmy Johnson in his 48 car, teammate to Jeff Gordon, he's trying to take this second spot away from Kurt Busch in the 2 car.
And Logano did hit the wall turn 4.
Yeah, he got it pretty good. He got up there and he couldn't get it down. He hit it pretty hard. Don't know if it hurt anything or not. It's just hard to tell with this car with all that foam they have on the right side.
Turn 2. Whoa. Martin goes around. Caution's out.
2 cars left there. You come on around.
Oof. Got a right rear tire. Did he blow the right rear tire?
Just the back end sheet metal, but it's pretty bad. The deck lid's flopping. 10-4, bring it to us. We'll see what we can do here.
Mike, that's one of the cars that's in the danger zone. Remember, he's had engine failures the last 2 weeks. Comes in here 34th in the points and in trouble today.
Let's ride along with Mark, Darrell, see if we can figure out what happened here.
I mean, just looking at it, it looks like a right rear tire.
And we'll do the best we can here. 10-4, bud.
Yep.
There it goes.
We just lost it, got the wall hard.
It's going to be a much bigger penalty for Greg Biffle because he's on pit road. They just restarted this race, so it's going to be a huge penalty. They're going to hold him there for a lap, and then plus he's going to lose what it takes to get back up to speed. So that's a huge penalty.
That's right.
But he wouldn't. Apparently they wouldn't come in because they had to black flag him to get him in.
They had the opportunity to do it under caution, and it would have just been 1 lap sitting there. So now they've released him now, but here comes the field off turn 4.
And here comes Kyle Busch side by side with Tony Stewart. Now not for position because Stewart is 1 lap down. And the 18 showing 3 laps down, but Kyle's trying to get back in the game here. He's got a
car, and it looks like his is at one of those. That makes that engine look good.
Now, I will say this, contrary to the Dodge fuel mileage, the Michael Waltrip in the 55 car, the 25th position, he's got problems.
Came off turn 2 and went straight to the back.
Yeah, well, Ruderman's already had an engine problem, and so has Marcos Ambrose. Whoa, we've got a car in the wall.
Hard, Scott Speed.
Scott Speed. Caution,
oh, more cars.
Biffle got turned around, hit the wall hard in the 16.
Everybody else limps past.
Boy, Biffle's day just went from bad to worse. Get black flag, held in the pits.
Now that's been a bad day. He was running 31st at the time of the crash.
Moving to the garage, to the garage.
Yeah, looks like it'll take him out of the race. Well, let's see how this starts with rookie Scott Speed in the 82, the silver car.
Scott had kind of gotten caught in the middle of some of these, some of this restart mess. He just pushes up the hill right there and gets caught.
That's David Reagan?
I think that's David Reagan, and that's the second time that's happened to David Reagan. Biffle actually did that to him earlier. And then this is just chain reaction here. Looks like
David
the 12 is Strimmy. See if it how it works out this time. He's just gone. He's got a heavy dose of gone right now.
Boy, they are so wadded up. They are not hesitant running 3 and 4 wide on these restarts.
Take advantage of those new tires while they're new.
Now, what's interesting with the free pass being given out under these cautions, we no longer have a car 1 lap down. We have several cars 2 laps down. Jamie McMurray in the 26 leading that group right now.
Busch and Vickers and Boyer have cleared the lap traffic. And here comes Jeff Gordon.
If you remember on that last green flag run, Jeff Gordon's car was probably one of the best cars on the short run. Kurt Busch, the 2 car, was the best car on the long run.
Gordon now 3rd. He has passed Clint Boyer. Carl Edwards now racing Boyer for 4th.
Well, if he got it, now's the time to use it. Because if that 2 car does like he's done all day, he's going to get out there and you're not going to be able to chase him down. I think that must have been Carl Spotter telling him to go get that 24.
Jimmy Johnson, the 48, a little slice and dice in traffic. Remember, he had to come from the back after a pit road penalty. But now the first 6 cars did not pit on this caution, so their tires not quite as fresh.
But what they have, Larry, 2 or 3 laps.
It had 2.5 green flag laps. The car really on the move, though, that was one of the cars that pitted. He's not made it to the top 6 yet.
Oh, Junior gets in the back of Almirola and almost turned him around.
And he ended up losing the position because he had to get out of the throttle, but he had to get out to avoid a big old wreck.
I think Junior got a problem. Well, it's the same one he's had all day. Car's just not doing what he wants it to do.
Nope, he's faded back to 14th. Last car on the lead lap. Let's see how close this was between Junior and the 8.
Gets that big runoff too over there and just not quite clear. Too many 8s right there together at one time.
You know, Darryl, you talked about this driver earlier, and he was one of the cars that was a lap down. He finally got the free pass not that long ago. He has 4 fresh tires. Matt Kenseth in his 17 car, he's knocking on the door of the top 5. He's moved up to the 6th position. He just got by Casey Kane and Denny Hamlin at 1 whack.
I just think that what makes this unpredictable late in a day like this is the weather change. And cars that weren't very good, man, they just seem to come alive late in this race when the sun goes down and starts to cool off. It was when he hit the wall, narrowed it up. It'll go faster now.
And keep in mind, Kurt Busch has 5 wins at Bristol.
Oh, yeah.
I tell you, he's getting loose off 4. I just saw it there. He's starting to just jump a little sideways every now and then off turn 4, the 2 car, Kurt Busch.
9 to go.
I think he's pretty good off it, too. It looked to me like he's getting a little loose off of 4, but he's really good off of 2. I think he really pulled away a little there.
Well, yeah, he's back up to 0.6465 seconds. Vickers gains a little in the straightaway.
Let's watch him
into
come
3.
off of 2 here. This is where, or off of 4, I'm sorry. The car just got a little bit stepped out the last time by here.
Actually looked like Brian Vickers' car stepped out a little bit that time off turn 4. 8 to go.
They're both trying as hard as they can. I'm sure that now that Kurt's looking back saying, if I got anything left, I'm going to use it now.
Vickers has one Sprint Cup Series win. It came at Talladega. He tried to pull out from behind 2 cars, mistimed it, and turned his teammate around. He went on to take the checkered flag and a win that was not entirely popular.
No, very unpopular win. Well, you can see that 2 car. It's just a little bit free off at 4 there, but it's still able to maintain.
Now that car that Kurt Busch just went by, Brian Vickers has to get by him. That's Kurt Busch's teammate, the 12 car of David Stremme.
Are you implying that he gave Kurt a lot of room and isn't going to give Brian so much?
I would say there's a distinct possibility.
If you're not, I'm going to.
Yeah, right.
It's 10-4. Stay with it here. Where are you?
That Stremme goes to the bottom of the racetrack. We'll be coming to 6 laps to go this time.
Whoa, Vickers loose. And let's applaud Stremme for that. He doesn't need to figure into
Look
this.
at Ryan Pemberton. He's holding up a 1 and a 2.
Yeah.
1 and a 2.
Get him out of the way.
Well, he wasn't in the way. He was all the way down the bottom of the racetrack. Stremme got way out of the way.
But I feel Ryan Pemberton's pain. Been there, done that.
No kidding. Man, you're so close.
I don't know if that 2's got enough fuel to make it.
Ah, that's right. Let's talk fuel mileage.
Boy, Larry, that's your area of expertise. Go ahead.
Well, the fuel window is about 54 to 58 laps. There's Pat Tryson, the crew chief for Kurt Busch. We've already documented that the Dodges probably don't get as good fuel mileage as the Toyotas. Kurt Busch was on pit road with 64 laps to go, but there's 11 caution laps in there.
Got to be able to make that.
And the pace has slowed down to over 34 seconds. He's using less fuel.
Yeah, you got to be able to make that.
Well, it's like Tim Brewer once told me on pit road. He says, I'm not sure if we got enough gas, but we're not stopping.
And I would say that's the case in all these cars with 4 laps to go next time.
That interval just kind of stays the same all the time. I think it's one gives a little, one takes a little, but it equals out.
I'm going into 1 really slow.
Got a smoker down low.
Robbie Gordon.
Boy, in that car, that yellow car there is just.
Robbie gets off the racetrack with a good bit of smoke.
That's a tire that's come apart. Caution will fly.
Now if I don't have enough gas, I'm really worried. What if it goes green, white, checker?
But Daryl, here's the deal. These guys, they've got 50-something laps on their tires. You know, now we don't get the free pass now. You know the back 7 or 8, 9 guys are going to come get tires even for 2 laps.
Did you see what Jimmy Johnson did here last year?
Yes, sir.
He came in, got tires, restarted like 10th or 12th, and in 3 laps chased down almost won the race.
But that's where I'm telling you, Pat Tryson, Ryan Pemberton, Steve Letarte, Bob Osborne, those top 3 or 4 cars, they will earn their money, those crew chiefs right here.
So if Kurt Busch stays on the racetrack, does he become a sitting duck?
It depends on how many stays out with him. If he stays out and everybody comes in, see ya.
But I didn't say Aflac duck. I said sitting duck.
But with what we've seen that tires are worth, there's no question. Even with 2 laps to go, Kevin Harvick for sure on back through Dale Earnhardt Jr. They're going to come get 4 tires.
Right. That's 6th through 12th. And a little side skirt there on Vickers' car. No big deal.
No, it's just a piece of plastic.
Won't slow him up. You can brush that off on the wall, can't you?
Yeah. That's why it's loose, I think. Well, I mean, the problem is if you're the 2 car, you can't come in.
No. Now, pit road was closed, and yet Matt Kenseth came in.
Now, the other thing, remember, we're well within 10 laps to go. This will be Matt Kenseth was out of gas. The reason he came to pit road when the car slowed down, the fuel ran away from the pickup. Let's see what happened. Here comes Kurt Busch in that 2 car. Vickers is going to follow him. Let's see who stays out.
Boy, what a gamble.
Steve.
And the 83 of Brian Vickers slides to a stop. He gets a clean windshield. They're going to take 2 rounds out of the left rear of that 83. Krista.
The leader, Kurt Busch, had to come in. They were that close on fuel. Pat Tryson said 4 tires and fuel just enough to get us to the end. Matt.
Jeff Gordon trying to get back to victory lane, a place he hasn't done in over years. No debate with crew chief Steve Letarte. He said, whether the leaders come or not, we are going to have to hit pit road.
Best I can tell, all the lead lap cars came to pit road. And
Best I can tell is Carl Edwards just dusted them.
3 spots on that 99 car, so he'll have the lead with what we'll know is probably going to be about 2 laps to go.
Now, Larry, we will have a photo finish.
Yes, we will.
They're going to either come across here sideways, slideways, backwards, every which way you can imagine.
And it'll only be lead lap cars to the front, single file restart.
Great job, great job.
Checkers or wreckers.
Got that right, buddy. Yeah, this is going to look like Days of Thunder.
All right, we're going to check out. They're checking right now as we speak. Did the 99 car and Bob Osborne go with just 2 tires only on the right side?
He beat everybody out so much, you'd think he did.
Now we have at least 2 cars on the tail end of the lead lap. Jeff Burton and Denny Hamlin did not pit and pulled up to the safety car. So we'll see how this aligns itself when we get ready for the restart. 4 laps to go this time by. If necessary, we will go to overdrive, which is 1 attempt at a green-white checker finish.
All right, the 11 and the 31, to answer your question, Mike, I think they just came to pit road there, and we did get a confirmation. Bob Osborne rolling the dice on Carl Edwards, 2 right side tires only.
See, I think that's the right call. Get the track position.
And Bono for Martin Truex made the same call, right side tires only on the number 1.
We've seen these cars, whoever gets out front for a little while can hang on.
Would we have been held up by the 88 if he came in? Everybody to take 4? Yeah, I believe so. And actually, I lied to you. The 39 took it for track position early on and held on for a couple laps.
That's what you can do for a couple.
Yeah,
I'm not
right,
talking
buddy.
about 10 laps here. If you remember, Ryan Newman was able to maintain pretty well for about 7 or 8 laps, 10 maybe. Only got to go 2.
So they're cleaning up debris from Robbie Gordon's tire on the back straightaway.
There's a sick man right there. He said, "Why did that caution have to come out?"
That's right, because instead of 2nd, Brian Vickers is now 6th.
You know, I know Bob Osborne, we didn't hear it in the radio transmission there, but just remember, they have had a lot of issues on pit stops today. That might have been a little of the method to the madness going with just 2 right side tires.
Well, you heard them say, or heard Carl say, he didn't want to get blocked. They didn't want to get blocked in because the 88 was the last car on the lead lap, and by the time Junior got into his pit, that'd be about the time Carl would be heading out. So for now, that looks like a good call. Chris?
Well, Brad Vickers losing position, of course, and you heard Kurt Busch. We had no choice. We had to come in for fuel. You were shaking your head, though, when we were listening to one of the crew chiefs, or at least watching.
Well, I was watching what Bob Osborne was telling, you know, Carl Edwards about the 12 car, I mean, not 12 car, but 39 car Ryan Newman, is the fact when Ryan did that and took the right side tires, they only had like 10 laps on the left sides. I believe we got close to 60 laps on the left side tires on that number 99 car. So it'll be interesting to see whether they match up or not, because as Darrell was talking about, you know, Days of Thunder, it sounds like a little old deal where I'm going to tell the driver what he needs to know and it's going to be okay. Just drive it off in there. It'll hook.
Yeah, well, with a single file restart here, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, you've got to put it all out there.
Hey, if you come to win, you got to go for it every now and then.
Jeff,
That's the only way you do it.
Have you ever heard being a salesman on pit road?
Oh, yeah,
I think
and that's what I loved about it. I knew what he was
there.
doing. I knew what he was doing. I was just shaking my head. It's like, yeah, I've been there before. You got to tell him that it's going to be great. Just trust me. Just trust me. You know, it's right there. I can't tell if that right there was a cyanide pill or an aspirin for the headache. You know, I don't know which one it's going to wind up being.
Just a headache, but yeah, this is when the palms are sweaty, the mouth gets dry.
Well, this is what they get paid for. And I mean, and this is what we keep talking about, great finishes in Atlanta. This guy's been involved in them. He knows what it's all about. Kurt Busch is going to be putting all the pressure on him. Don't forget Jeff Gordon. I mean, we've been looking at some guys. You're leading with 10 laps to go. Can you believe that Kurt Busch has got 16 wins and only 5 losses?
Hey, Chris and Jeff.
Yeah.
This could be what might happen for them. We know how much these guys are going to be up on the wheel. The best thing that could happen for Carl Edwards is the green flag for the restart and get a caution. Then they would win the race because you only get 1 attempt at a green-white checker.
Yep, and
that's true.
We've had 5 last lap passes to decide wins here in Atlanta. We might be in for another one. Let's go back up to Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
You know what? You could have put 6 tires on that 99 car, and you ain't going to beat that 2 car. I can just tell you that right now.
You're right. Unless, as Larry says, a caution comes out before Kurt can get to it.
How many times have we had cautions on the restart at the start-finish line?
That's the only way, because you watch this dude when they drop that green flag, he'll go around him on the outside like he's got a rope tied to him.
Now, we know how bad that cat back there in third, he wants to get to victory lane. Jeff Gordon in that 24 car, he's got 4 fresh tires. Martin Truex Jr. in one, only 2 tires like the 99.
And how about old Harv in 5th place? How many times have we seen where did he come from on the last lap?
Yep.
And we know he got his first win here at Atlanta.
Smoke's up there. He's up in the 9th place.
Casey Kane, Clint Boyer.
We got us a little
Jimmy
shootout
Johnson.
here, boys. A little shootout.
2 laps. Here we go. It's on.
Boy, Gordon got a good restart. He's going to pull to the high side. Kurt Busch shuts the door on him going into 1.
Boy, Kurt didn't get off to a real great start, but he's going right for that high line up off of turn 2. And he should be able to make the pass. Carl's going to try to slam the door. No way.
But look at Jeff Gordon in that 24 car. Carl trying to slide in between them, and it's not going to work. White flag next time.
Harvick jumped up to 4th on the restart, but I think he's too far back. It's a 3-horse race.
That 2 car is not that good on the bottom, but he's got him enough lead. I think he's going to be okay.
1 to go.
That 2 car is just too strong for everybody today.
Looks like the battle's going to be for second. Carl Edwards fighting back, though, on the bottom.
On the bottom, you're clear.
Oh, Gordon's got a run. Here he comes.
Boy, Gordon got a great run. He side drafted off of Carl Edwards, and down the back we go.
Watch him. He's going to pack it down into turn 3. This 24 car. See if he can stick.
He can't do it. That 2 car is just on a rail today.
Versus Big Daddy Kurt Busch, Roger Penske win in Atlanta. 19th career victory for Kurt Busch, who started on the outside pole and gets his 3rd top 10 finish of 2009.
Those guys should be jacked up, baby, I tell you.
Great job. Thanks to 99 for racing the school.
Led 233 laps.
2nd win here for Kurt Busch. And in his 296 starts, it's the most laps he's ever led in one day. It's also the 7th Cup win for crew chief Pat Tryson.
Look at him.
His 4th with Kurt Busch.
He is pumped up.
Hey, there comes little brother. Say, nice job. Keep it in the family.
For car owner Roger Penske, it's his 2nd win here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Rusty Wallace drove a Penske car to victory here in 1993. The right side scraped up. Well, sometimes that's what you got to do to win here in Atlanta.
Right side scraped up, you've been racing. Left side all beat up, you've been in the way.
Well, this is something new.
He doesn't understand what the Polish victory lap's all about. Somebody needs to explain it to him.
I will say that this is different here. I believe he's going to go all the way around this mile and a half racetrack backwards.
I see the basis of a new Digger cartoon right here.
This is just something bad wrong with this.
Folks, this victory lap's going to take a little while.
He's just unwinding a little bit.
Yes. I wonder if they'll credit him with 1 less lap run. Victory lane after this.
Welcome to the Lipitor post-race show. NASCAR and Fox live at Atlanta. A Busch wins again. It was Kyle last week. Older brother Kurt rolling past Digger in victory lane. And let's check in with Matt Yoka. Matt?
7 years ago, Kurt Busch went to victory lane here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. And I don't know what was more impressive, the new victory celebration or winning in overtime in dramatic fashion. That was big.
Man, this was an incredible race. I have to thank my guys. This car was unbelievable, and good things come to those who wait. We waited over 1.5 years with this COT to find a good package, and we've had that to start off 2009. So unbelievable with the Miller Lite Dodge today. Great calls by Pat Tryson, our engineering staff. Penske Power, power, it's back. It feels awesome.
And also for the Busch family, back-to-back wins for the second year in a row.
And that's neat. I mean, I got to hold my end of the bargain because Kyle's on the gas right now, but I got to thank guys like Carl Edwards for racing me clean at the end, and Jeff Gordon was strong all day. And when you beat those two kind of guys here at Atlanta, especially on a day when it reminded you of Darlington, this place will just chew you up and spit you out, and we had to handle. So we're hanging on to her. I got to thank Dodge. If that doesn't inspire anybody to go out and buy a Dodge Charger, I don't know what will, because we were David today, we beat Goliath, but just a great group, and thanks to Dodge, Miller Lite, Mobile One, all of our guys, PPG, and just everybody that puts an effort together. I know they're celebrating at PT's Pub out in Vegas. Thank you so much.
And Kurt Busch going on next to Thunder Valley, a place where he and this Blue Deuce, Dick Berggren, have had a lot of success in the past.